bad for you, it's greasy, and it makes you want to take a nap. But we still eat it because it's delicious. I mean, there has to be a reason barbecue has such a devoted following. And a few years back, Texas Monthly proclaimed that Portland had the best Texas-style barbecue scene outside of Texas, which is pretty high praise. So today on CityCast Portland, we're talking with Oregonian restaurant critic Michael Russell. He recently toured the Lone Star State's highest-rated barbecue joints and is ready to assess with me if Portland really does have the best barbecue scene on the West Coast. Put your bibs on. You might hear of a new place you just need to try out. It's Tuesday, September 19th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. So a few years ago, a Texas Monthly food writer proclaimed that Portland had the best Texas barbecue scene outside of Texas. And I'll be honest, since I've moved here many years ago, I've always just been like, wait, Portland has good barbecue? Because I've never been able to find it. But then I realized it's because there's a difference between Texas barbecue and the barbecue that I consider barbecue.
I like that. I like that take.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And I agree with you there. There's been a takeover of the barbecue world in America by these Texas-style places. And you can find 1 or 2 or 10 in every city in America now. And they all do barbecue, not just in the Texas style, but basically in the style of this one part of Texas around Austin.
I was about to say.
Yeah, everything, the meat, it's like beef, it's focused on brisket.
Yeah.
It's smoked really slow for a long time, and it's usually served like there might be sauce on the side, there might be no sauce, and the meat is supposed to be so tender and delicious and juicy, it does not need any sauce.
But I am here to tell you that it does. It does need sauce. Barbecue needs sauce.
We're both sauce fans on this podcast, so yeah, no argument here.
Should we blame Franklin Barbecue for this? Do you think he was the one who created the stir?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the main source of information about how to do this style of barbecue. And Franklin got so much positive press. And then Aaron Franklin, the chef, who's sort of a wonky barbecue guy, like a barbecue nerd, he put out a more than one cookbook, but one barbecue-focused cookbook that's extremely influential. Mm-hmm. And what it creates is a product that looks really cool on social media. It tastes really great. But where I'm with you, Claudia, is I'm not sure it's what my body wants to eat all the time. Like when I actually want barbecue that I like, it's often some good smoked meat with a little bit of sauce. Maybe it's a sandwich, like where did the sandwich go? That's seems like everyone's after this like big game trophy hunting barbecue where you have a big plate where the meat's almost like dripping over the sides. And it seems like it's overwhelming to actually eat. And it is. And you don't necessarily feel good afterwards. So
I have to agree on all those points. But I heard that recently you went on a kind of Texas barbecue quest and you survived it. So congrats on that, Michael. But your assessment was like, wait, Portland's barbecue spots are actually just as good as this. So what are some of the spots that you were just like, yes, this is what I'm feeling here?
Yeah. What I found in Austin visiting 3 or 4 places from Texas Monthly's best barbecue list was, Matt's Grassland Barbecue out in Hood River. These places are just as good as some of the top 10 places on the Texas Monthly list, in my opinion. You're not missing out on a ton. Now, I'm not a professional barbecue critic, but, having eaten both, I ate at the number 2 spot on Texas Monthly's top 50 list, a place called Interstellar. Really, really great barbecue. But I don't think it was like so much better than what you get at Grassland in Hood River, for example.
Well, let's talk about your favorite spots. So let's start with Grassland. So it's only open 2 days a week from what I can tell, 11:30 to 4. It's seasonal. And just so you know, I can never get to it in time after going wine tasting in that area because it's a decision you have to make to either start drinking at 11:30 a.m. and then eat barbecue so you get it before 4, or eat the world's like heaviest brunch and then go wine tasting and then die, basically. Like that is the decision you have to make. So I never can do it because I like, you know what I mean? Like you go wine tasting, you know what I'm talking about.
Not as much as I used to. It used to be cheap. Remember when wine tasting was like $5 $5 for three
Oh my
pours.
God. I remember.
Isn't that what this podcast called?
I
Those were
remember
the
when
days.
Portland. Yeah, exactly. So we're talking about grasslands. They call themselves Texas style barbecue in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, and these guys, they really are in that sort of big game trophy hunting style of barbecue. Like you said, they're open 2 days a week. It's seasonal. Like you, it took me forever to get out there. I tried them when they came to town and did a pop up at Ruse Brewing in Southeast, which they tend to do something like that once or twice a year.
Hmm.
But I actually went all the way out there on a Saturday, um, booked a hotel room, and then like the morning
Wow.
of, I checked their Instagram and they said, "Yeah, we're not opening today." So,
No.
uh,
Okay, Michael, I could imagine. Do you remember? So I've seen Michael in the greatest suit ever. It's like this striped baby blue seersucker suit. I imagine you rented a hotel, you wore your seersucker suit, you were all ready for Texas barbecue, and they were just like, sorry, bud.
with a full length bib, yeah,
Yeah.
for the grease dripping down. Yeah, that is a great suit. I might have to put that on today. Yeah, so that barbecue is really good. They're going big smoke. If you're a fan of smoky meat, that's the place to go. Frankly, it is overwhelming. I think I had like 4 or 5 bites of food, and I was like, yeah, I think I need to bag this up and go home and take a nap at this point. So, but that being said, I think going to these barbecue places that are excellent, that really focus on the craft, it really isn't an everyday thing. It really should be once a year or something. In terms of grassland, I think it is worth going out there. You'll have to wait in line. There's going to be a line, but luckily Hood River has some loose laws around drinking. So the Ferment Brewery, which is right next door, set up a little, like, it looks like a popsicle stand, but it sells
Hmm.
beer and you can drink it while you're in line.
Sounds
And
nice.
they explicitly are trying to develop what they call like a line culture, which gives me shivers, but
Hmm.
as someone who doesn't like lines, but this is what you have in Austin. You go there early, you bring a lawn chair, you maybe have a beer, and
Hmm.
they're trying to create that here in Oregon, and they feel like people are a little resistant to it here, but they seem to be willing to wait half an hour to an hour for grassland at least.
Oh man, I was looking at their menu and I noticed that they had like chimichurri sauce and stuff, and I was like,
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah, don't they put that on their like Santa Maria style tri-tip? Yeah, they do the typical meats you'd expect, and then each day has a special. Like I think a beef rib one day, and then the tri-tip is the other day. I think that's what has the chimichurri on it.
Right. Well, let's talk about Matt's Barbecue, which has been one of the I would say cornerstone barbecue places in town. Also Texas style. Pretty highly acclaimed. I actually just think it's aight, but I think I go every day that it's just been aight. You know what I mean? Like people have talked about this is the most amazing barbecue, and every time I go, I'm like, this is fine.
I'm with you. I mean, I'm the opposite. I think every time I go, I'm hitting them on a good day.
Mm.
But they are big now. I mean, by Portland barbecue standards, they have the barbecue cart. They have a barbecue taco cart. They also have a taco stand at Great Notion Brewing on Alberta. So they're operating three barbecue businesses. He's the M in EEM, EEM, Earl,
Hmm.
Eric, and Matt. And so he provides smoked meats for EEM as well. So that's like they have this barbecue warehouse up in Northeast Portland on Columbia, a very industrial part of town. And they're pumping out a lot of smoked meat every day. I think for me, the quality is still really high. But they were also kind of the first people to land in Portland in like 2015 doing this style of barbecue. And being the first means a lot of people associate you with that style, even if it was inspired by these Austin places. And again, I usually catch them on a really good day, even though, yes, they're much bigger now. It's harder to do quality control when you're going from feeding 80 people a day to feeding 800.
Yeah. I've never been to the taco stand. I've only been to their stand in the Prost kind of Mississippi food cart pod. I've been there twice, and every time I've had it, I've been perfectly satisfied. But again, to me, barbecue isn't just a perfectly cooked meat and smoked and whatever, but it's also like the style that you give it with your sauce. Like people, that's what I grew up with. Like you grow up with like, this is, I do barbecue great. This is a great piece of meat, but let's talk about sauce. So let's talk about Daddy D's because that's another one you brought up, and they're pretty sauce heavy. They dub themselves Southern style barbecue, which is large. That's a large swath of the of the American region. Not so much Texas style. Can you tell me a little bit more about Daddy D's?
Yeah, the owner's name is Donny Vercher, Vercher, might be Verche, the
Hmm.
pronunciation, and he is from Louisiana. You'll usually see him wearing a Daddy D shirt with a Louisiana state outline on the back, and his barbecue to me is a lot about the sauce. The last time I did a big barbecue crawl around the metro area, I just loved his barbecue. I think I had a brisket sandwich, which is just what we're talking about. It's not exactly this like craft barbecue from Austin. It's
Hmm.
smoked meats put on bread with a good sauce. You take a bite, it's delicious, and you don't feel like a gut bomb situation right afterwards, which I really appreciate, even though it is a fair amount of meat. One of the sort of signature things about Daddy D's is that it's at the back of a Shell station in
Hmm.
Vancouver. So you can buy drinks from the gas station, and they open a second location not far away. But yeah, that's the older school style of barbecue, and also a black-owned business, which is pretty rare in this sort of modern craft barbecue world. Even though barbecue has it's very much tied up with Black history in America. This modern thread of these Austin style places is almost all of them are white owned.
Hmm.
And if you want to go support a black owned business that's doing a really good job with a different style of barbecue, I recommend going north to Vancouver.
All right, let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, more on Portland barbecue with Michael Russell. Rose City Comic Con, Portland's premier comic convention, is quickly approaching. From September 22nd through the 24th, you can catch some of your favorite celebrities and comic creators at the Oregon Convention Center. Everyone from Guardians of the Galaxy stars Zoe Saldana and Karen Gillan to Doctor Who stars Arthur Darvill and Alex Kingston. You can also meet the full cast of Critical Role, including Matt Mercer, not to mention Ralph Macchio and Rebecca Romaine, because why the not? Comic creator guests include Greg Rucka, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Adam Hughes, Phil Jimenez, Brian Stelfreeze, and many, many more. There will also be video games galore along with tabletop and RPG gaming all weekend long. And that's in addition to family-friendly events like Rose City Junior, Destination Cosplay, and a book fair in partnership with the Powell City of Books. You don't want to miss out on this one. You can check it out for yourself and get your badges over at rosecitycomiccon.com. That's rosecitycomiccon.com. I wanted to ask you what your go-to barbecue order is. I know that technically you're not a big barbecue fan. We're here again. I feel like I always invite you to talk to me about things that you're just like, it's okay.
Hmm.
I like this fine.
Yeah, but what's funny is like I'll fly 2,000 miles to Austin to eat barbecue, or I'll drive to Tumalo to eat barbecue, or face rush hour traffic to go to Hillsborough to go to Ferdy's Barbecue, a new place where I went last week. But yeah, I often come away feeling like, yeah, I don't feel so good. Like that's just too much meat for my body to handle. I think that's like a common complaint of general restaurant critics when they're faced with eating a lot of barbecue. It's like, really, like, do I have to do this? Oh, it's too much meat,
Hmm.
too much fat. But I seem to be willing to travel long distances for it. Where I don't know that I'd fly 2,000 miles for pasta.
Yeah.
Well, the other barbecue place in Portland that we don't talk about, Khan, our restaurant of the year last year,
Hmm.
is a Haitian restaurant, and Gregory Gourdet, the chef there, in his website, he points out that barbecue, like the word, comes from the sort of Spanish translation of a Haitian tradition. They called it barbacoa,
Mm.
and the idea of like smoking or grilling meats, obviously that probably goes back to like the first lightning strike near a time a caveman killed a beast or
Hmm.
whatever. But there is this tradition of cooking meats in Haiti that gave us the word barbacoa that came to the United States as barbecue. And that is at Cannes, that idea of barbecue is usually it's actually grilled meats, but he does do like a Texas style beef rib, which is totally delicious. It's rubbed with a Haitian coffee, salt and pepper, and it's really
Hmm.
tender. So that's a place I don't think anybody thinks of Con as a barbecue restaurant, but a lot of the meats are, you know, prepared in ways that are pretty similar to barbecue. So
Hmm.
that's another place to have on your radar if you can get in.
If you can get in.
Not so easy.
They're like booked out, what, like months ahead?
They were giving away reservations in person as a way to get around. They claim like bots were grabbing reservations away from them.
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, what is your go-to barbecue order then? Your once a year excursion to feeling sick.
Right. So I think most barbecue places will offer a like a chef's platter, or everyone has a different word. The smorgasbord or the whatever it's called, but basically it's like a small portion of 3 to 4 meats and a lot of sides, and maybe even comes with banana pudding for dessert. And I usually get that just to try to sample as many things as possible. It's kind of a boring thing to say. And sometimes it's like $50, $60, $70, $80 for this thing. You get your nice picture, and you get to try, this and that while you're there.
So that's your go-to, is basically everything.
Yeah, maybe that's why everything. I feel sick afterwards. Yeah.
I know, that's what I'm thinking, because I would just get the pulled pork sandwich or something, I'll just give me the ribs. What I'm hearing, Michael, is you make yourself sick and then you blame the barbecue.
Well, it's always like, I'm like, I want to try, okay, how do they do with pulled pork? Pulled pork, oh, it's excellent. How's the brisket? Not so good. You want to kind of have that range of things to try.
It just sounds like you need to start inviting friends to go eat barbecue with you. That's what I'm hearing.
Come to Austin?
Yeah.
John, you want to come to Austin? Claudia, you want to come to Austin?
Can we all get matching seersucker suits?
Yeah, or like, what are they called? Nudie suits? The sort of old Western suits? I want one of those.
Nudie suits? I've never heard of that.
Nudie.
Oh, they're like kind of, they almost look like cowboy, I don't want to say clowns, but like they're very colorful.
Cowboy suits.
You know what it is? It's like a white person's mariachi suit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair description.
It is, though. It's nice. It's nice. So you'd wear that? I just feel like if I wear a seersucker and you wear a nudie suit, we just look like we're not together.
Well, I have the seersucker, as you know.
Oh, okay.
So we can do that.
I think we have to decide on the nudie or the seersucker, because I'll look like, if I wear one, I'll look like a gentleman lawyer and you'll look like you're an Elvis impersonator. All right, well, we got our plan. Well, thank you so much, Michael. As always, thanks for taking the time and telling us where to eat in Portland.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And now for your microdose of news. The local family-owned real estate investment company, Menashe Properties, yes, the same property investment firm that once owned an open-air fentanyl market, aka the Washington Center, has now bought a 183,735 square foot downtown office building for $13.6 million. Now, the building cost them just $75 a square foot. That's over 3 times cheaper than what it sold for in 2014. They're betting that enough people will return to the office post-COVID to make the investment pay off. Because that's exactly what downtown is in desperate need of: more office space. And Portland Public Schools distributed 14,000 bags that can deactivate expired or illicit drugs. doTERRA bags, as they're called, have non-toxic carbon-activated crystals that, when combined with water, break down whatever's inside, from expired ibuprofen to marijuana to heroin. Students are encouraged to use them if they come across unknown substances or to help their families clear out their medicine cabinets. More generally, the bags were intended to spark conversations at home about drug abuse prevention. For even more local news and events, sign up for our daily newsletter, Hey Portland. We'll throw a link in the show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you with Slims.